Good morning. Today we're in the beautiful Donaghadee. Now this is actually my brother's hometown, so he's going to come and join us for breakfast. If the weather holds, I'll get the drone up and then we're going to paint outside in watercolour and ink. So welcome to Donaghadee.
Good morning.
He's here. I was explaining earlier, this is your hometown now. We've got the, what's it, the MCV? The mobile coffee unit? Or no, MCU.
Yeah,
MCU is down there and ready. And he's got... What is
Don't
this?
mind me. We're just going to grind up some coffee today. So we've got a little, we're going French today. So we've got a little Marks and Spencer's French roast. What I'm going to try and do is convince Colin that French press can be nice.
Because I don't really think that they are. And I've thought long and hard about this, that actually because they're never really cleaned that well.
No.
And because the coffee kind of swirls all around it, whereas with the dripper, it drips through in a cafetiere. Well, so
that's today's challenge.
So how many of these, so is one of those 1 cup?
One of these really is 1 cup for this. So they're very dark beans, they're very heavily roasted.
Nicely roasted.
Yeah, if you want to have a little smell of those.
Yeah, they do smell good. Unfortunately, we don't have smell vision, but if we did.
Sadly not. So I'm just going to grind up 2 cups, 2 little spoonfuls of these, which will be hugely boring to watch. But
yeah, we'll just edit that.
We'll edit that wee bit out and then come back.
Is this like a collapsible?
Yeah, so just in the sense that you can fit it in somewhere and get rid of this wee bit, and then you've got 2 of these.
Right, okay.
And the second one has a little lid on it,
right.
So you can kind of grind things up. I'm going to grind it slightly coarser, which will help with the taste of the beans. Yeah.
He actually is a teacher, but I think maybe in retirement you quite like to be a barista.
It wouldn't be out of the question, really.
And then this is it reminds me of a Meccano set. You're that particular vintage and remember a Meccano set, you'll connect. I've also had the coffee on. We're well prepared here today, or not the coffee. The kettle is nearly boiled, so we're going to cut him while he does the grinding here. Need to be careful.
About 10 minutes.
Need to be careful how I couch this in words.
Yeah.
So we'll leave him be with this, and then we'll get you back when we're pouring into the cafetiere.
Bye.
So it's actually now Saturday.
3 years later.
3 years later, on he goes. Okay, so the coffee is ground. We are having Lidl's finest croissants, which actually are incredibly hard to beat and are super duper reasonable on our camping plates that Isaac brought. Right, sir?
So
convince me.
Yeah. Okay. So slightly coarser grind, really. Probably can't see it too well, but I'm going for like sand, kind of grains of sand, rather than dust.
That's incredible.
And then I'm going to pour in exactly 400 milliliters.
How do you know that then?
I don't. I'm making it up.
And it's been boiled to a temperature of 86 degrees.
0.7.
Which your son has a kettle that actually does do.
Correct.
The amount of...
So then the next little step is just to agitate it a bit, and that will create a bit better of a mix. So, and this is all, this is not my own knowledge, this is gleaned from elsewhere. But basically what happens then is if you don't do that, as I understand it, it all sits in a clump at the top, whereas this distributes it amongst the water. And then the last simple thing is really just to give it 4 minutes and let it steep.
4 minutes?
4 minutes, yeah.
Right.
So we'll give it a whirl.
I would never have let it sit that long.
See what happens.
Okay, so we'll let this sit for 4 minutes. And where have I put the milk? I can't even think where I've put it. So we'll find the milk and then we'll get back when this is ready. Okay, so we've waited probably a little bit more than
maybe 4.5 minutes.
But what I noticed, I must comment, is that normally whenever you just leave it, you have about that much coffee just sitting floating, whereas it's all mixed together.
Yeah.
Right. So are you a coffee first or milk first person?
Coffee first.
I'm a milk first person.
Coffee first. So plunge slowly, and it's much easier to plunge is the other thing after it.
Because you've not got to
there's not a whole lot of sediment sitting at the filter. And so just a slow plunge, and then let's see if we can convince you.
I'm slightly concerned of, no, that's a good amount of milk. Thank you.
There you go.
Very civil in the Bertie Bongo. Oh, you didn't give yourself very much, although hopefully the milk will.
No, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
Right, I'm going to try this. Yeah, it definitely hasn't got... Thank you, brother, I really appreciate the coffee. It's not overwhelmingly wonderful, but it doesn't have that cafetiere taste. Yes, where you're like, something tastes off in this. Yeah. No, that's nice, I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Right, let's enjoy. Chink chink.
Chink chink.
And we'll enjoy our croissants. Then I'm going to fire the drone up and then we'll get painting after that. See you in a minute. Get yourself a coffee now or tea or whatever.
Croissant,
enjoy that. Pause the video.
Brioche.
Oh, maybe some are heavy drinkers. So
Come see, come sa.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Bye.
So we have enjoyed our coffee and our croissant. And now Simon showed me where the toilets are, which, as we know, is a very important part of day van life. Really,
key factor, I assume.
And you're going to the bakery.
I'm going to the bakery.
I'm just going to the toilet for the rest of the day. Right, I'll hopefully get the drone up. Now they are filming for a series called Hope Street, which seems to be quite popular. Is it popular in the UK or just in Northern Ireland?
I don't know. I think it's relatively popular. I'm not too sure.
Well, this is maybe like the 3rd season or something.
I think it's 4th, maybe.
So I'll see if I can get the drone up, but they may shoot it down. Hopefully not, but that's why we all have insurance.
Not literally.
Right, see you soon. Okay, so here we are. We're all set up at the harbour, and it's quite a grey day, as you can see. I was spitting ever so slightly with rain, but now that has settled down. So I'm all set up. I've got my brushes to my left, Unipins today that I'm going to be drawing with, Winsor & Newton Cotmans, my little travel water bottle, and my water pot, and the good old Madlug bag that will keep everything nice and safe and secure. So I'm just going to start. My method is to normally go with the smallest pencil, or the pen, 0.05, and then to move to larger. So the larger one I have is the 0.5 there. So 0.05 Unipin and then 0.5. So what we're going to do first of all is let's start with this. The more kind of the middle of the where the wall is of the harbour. So we're going to start there. We're going to draw these in. So there's boats galore everywhere, and I'm not going to be too fussy about my line work here, but also do want to know that they're boats, you know. So we're just focusing on the little boats that are kind of there, and then that one's sitting up a little bit because it's more of a rib. It's got the buoy there. And then a little little bit more of the line underneath. So then we've got another boat there's loads of boats everywhere. So again, the most important thing in this is that I don't get lost in, oh goodness, this is wrong and this is right. I've been doing this for quite a while, so it doesn't normally happen too much, but it still is a temptation to really lose sight of what you're doing, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've got this completely and utterly wrong and all that jazz. So we're not going to do that. Just trying to notice where the position of the boats are. So I use dots quite a lot of the time to sort of begin to try and grasp that. A bit more of a line there. And then this painting is slowly becoming more about the boats than it is actually the lighthouse. And actually one boat here that I've just started to draw has actually turned the full way around. So that's a little bit awkward. So we'll have to freeze it in whatever position it's in, really. And then we've got this lovely big boat here. So this is the composition of this is going to be really quite quirky, which I am actually very excited about. These boats are moving around continually because of the way the waters are. I'm going to have to freeze this boat as it is. And also, do I want to get in all the boats? I don't know, we'll see how we go. Because what can happen is it can get pretty frustrating sometimes with trying to capture everything all at once. Or not even everything all at once, just, you don't need to put everything in, you know. It's up to me. I get to decide what goes in and what doesn't here. And there's another there as well. Okay, and then this one is really close to, just checking the gaps there. Okay, the other thing that I love about whenever you start, now this hasn't actually gone into the middle, and that's okay because I'm going to leave this space around it. It means that it doesn't matter that whenever it's going to be framed, that if somebody wants it, that the framer then, he has got something to work with. Whenever it comes to writing, it says visitors' berths here. Comes to writing, I do not try and copy the writing. What I do is I write it, and then that also makes it a little bit more mine, which is pretty good. You can hear that gentle lap. I didn't realise that there's actually effectively a beach at the front of the harbour here either. Okay, so now then, I'm going to take, I think this up to about here. We're just trying to capture the lighthouse here. And then getting different stages of the lighthouse. And like all things, you don't really notice them or appreciate them until you have to draw them. So well, regardless of drawing, until you really see them. Seeing is normally the first stage of appreciating. Just trying to get some of the detail in of that lighthouse there, and then that dips in there at that point. And then that's going to come down to this point. Okay, now the other thing is then you've got the lines here, lines here, window here, and then just at this point where the it seems like or feels like the entrance is. And it's one of the darkest points of the entire picture as well. So, and it has these lines too. these kind of railings that occur and actually go beyond the bottom as well. So we're just going to carry that out a little bit on either side, okay? Then you've got the extra bit of the harbour. So the composition actually is leaning quite heavy on the right hand side, and then the other bit is where you've got this bit of the harbour on this side. So we're making this really quite a panoramic scene, really. And then we have, so there's this little boat which is significantly drifted, and then we've got all of these other little boats that are just in the little life ring. So just gonna capture in these other boats here. That was the, and then we make obviously the harbour kind of even. Just putting in there really that guideline there, and so we're gonna bring in. There's so many boats. There's boats everywhere. This is the part where I want to speed up, because the drawing for me is not really the biggest part of the artwork. So if this was a scale and you had the drawing and then you had the watercolour, I'm going to have very little drawing and much more watercolour. And it's actually really helpful to know that, because all of us really, I think, are somewhere on that scale. There's a guy we were away with on the most recent course in the Cotswolds, and he was saying that he was much more of a drawer than he was anything else. And I think that is actually something to really note, because that's important to know that that's the bit that you're really enjoying, you know, just getting this final boat in. It's hard to do. I don't want to take you off the camera so you can't see what I'm drawing. And also, because this is plein air, the colour is going to be different and the experience is different, because you're not dealing in a warm environment where you can, you know, speed up the process of heating or use a hairdryer. I have been looking for a battery powered hairdryer, to be honest, to be able to have in scenarios like this. But as yet I haven't found one that is reasonable enough for me to purchase. At the minute they're all like about 70 quid, which is just a little bit too much. Okay, I think maybe we'll leave the boats there. I don't know that I want to keep adding in and adding in. Now the other thing is then we have this horizon line of the water. Just going to draw it right across there. Okay, so that's the drawing. Column 25 goes in the corner, and then what I'm going to do is go through with the 0.5, and with the 0.5 then I'm just going to go from right to left. So it's darker here, kind of under my windows there. This is also darker there, just that little bit up there. Just noticing those darkest points makes such a difference to the painting in every way, particularly when you begin to add in the colour. Now, some of these have moved so much that I couldn't even tell you what type of boats they are, or what colour they are, or even where they are. The joys of drawing in plein air. Now this bit here, just this will all make such a difference. Just such a difference to add in. And the other thing is that I've missed is the little lights that are just at the end of the pier. And just another one that comes across just at this point here. So just those little indications will make a massive difference. Okay, so now we are at the watercolour stage. So what I want to do first of all is get in the sky. So for the sky, I think I'll move my water up here. I might actually, it'd be better keeping it up there. See if I can zoom out. Won't let me zoom out anymore, so I think this is what we've got to work with. So I don't know whether this brush is going to be big enough, but we'll work with it. Anyway, so the sky is really, it's really a Payne's grey. I mean, that's really where we're at. It's one of those, and probably slight bit of, I'm going to start out actually up here, because it's really, really grey today. But strangely bright. I don't understand our weather. You know, I've lived here all my life, and I do not understand Northern Irish weather. I'm just going to drag this right across to here. A bit of a splatter there. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of indigo, just to change it ever so slightly as we get more towards the skyline. And I'm actually going to bring it right across to where it meets the sea. So I'm actually not going to cover it all, but certainly going to let it do that. Okay, so that's what we've got now for the sea, and we're just going to let it lie like that. Now, what we can do is then, so we're going to change the brush. I'm going to move over to my 3/4 flat. And if you've watched me for any time, you know that that's my favourite brush. We're going to mix from the colour that we have to find the colour that we don't. So that's a little bit of, don't know what type of green that was, a little bit of phthalo. Going to go in with some indigo. And then we need to dumb this right down, because it's really, really quite dark. And I think the advantage to this is to lift it. I'm going to add in a touch more green, so we can get it somewhere near. Okay, yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm just going to take this right to using a bit of that kind of line effect there. Now we can't go right up to the line of where the sky is, because then they're going to bleed together. I don't want that to happen. So just at the minute, this is layer 1. So what we can afford to do on layer 1 is just, that's enough. That's all I want in terms of indicating that we've got water there. Now I'm sailing, if you pardon the pun, precariously close to the sky. But that's okay for now, that's all we're going to do. So we need to let this dry before we can begin to add in more details here to the harbour and to the boats. So let's let this dry first, and then we'll come back to I was going to say the second layer, but actually it'll end up being the first layer in some areas, and I don't know that I'll need to do much more with the water, but I will do a little bit more. I think I'll add in the stampers, so we're going to let it dry. I'll add in the stampers off camera, get a picture of the scene, and then we'll come back. So we are now dry, and someone I'd met doing a demonstration just called down to say hello, which was really, really nice, lovely surprise. We also had some young girls with their grandparents who were fishing for crabs and trying to get some limpets as bait, so that was pretty cool too. So at the minute I'm just mixing the colour for the harbour, because if you can, I don't think if I pulled it up you could actually see, but yeah, I'm really pleased with that colour. Now there's just a little bit too much watercolour in there, so just lifting that off. What I can do as well is just use the flatter edge of the brush to be able to just indicate sort of the straightness of the harbour, the way that the bricks and the way it's been constructed. I'm just going to do, now it is slightly lighter on this side, so we'll lift this a little bit of this lighter colour here. There's actually somebody swimming in the harbour as well. Go with them. Can't think actually of nothing worse, although maybe when you get in with those sea swimmers, there's bound to be some sea swimmers who watch here. For those of you who do that, you're probably saying, Colin, I don't know why you wouldn't. Oop. As he tries to get the wasp to go away. The wasp has now disappeared. Find it blowing at wasps seems to cause them to move, he hopes. Now we need to get a little splash this colour on this side, and that has gone completely over everything. So what I'll do is I'll get out the wet one and we'll just lift those little marks just with the simplicity of dot them out there. Don't mind it, really don't mind it splattering over this area here, but I do mind it splattering over the rest. Save the day. Those little natural sponges are excellent. I've actually got another mark I've just noticed on the lighthouse, which don't really want, so just grabbing that there. Okay, so we've got this now, and the next thing then is to mix for some of the colours of the boats. So a lot of the boats are white. There's a gentleman pushing a pram, having a, I don't know, he's enjoying the fact that I'm doing a YouTube video. Okay, so I'm just picking the cerulean there and using it for this little, I can't even tell you which boat is which, to be honest. They all kind of blur in after a while. And then we had another one that was we'll darken that one down. Was it a green? So we're going to add this one in here. And I find that actually with boats, the best thing that you want to do is nod. I know I use that phrase a lot, but you're nodding to the colours. You're just, because in a sense, if it's not exact, not that it matters whether it's the exact colour or not, this is a reference image, as I'm forever saying, but when you nod to those colours, then people's brains kind of fill in the rest, if you know what I mean, so it doesn't become a big deal, you know. There's just a slight yellowing tone to these ones. Now the other ones then are actually, oh, there's one there that is actually a lovely shade of blue on the side here, so we'll just add that gently in. And then the rest of them are actually darker, just darker because they're white, so I'm just wanting to do a brief indication just by touching towards the water, and they're slightly darker. Now what I do have then is that actually I'm just going to use that same principle effectively here. Now we're going to have the little stripes. Now see if we can draw these on very lightly. Just drawing in those little light stripes there, and then I'm also going to take a bit of the reddy tone here, more of an orangey tone, and just using the flat edge brush again, just to indicate that there is just a little touch of colour there, and I'll lift a little bit more. Hopefully drop that in a couple of places. Now it'll be drying actually in certain areas as part of the harbour. So what we can then do is take in some of those darker tones and go over certain areas because it's now the second layer. You can see how it's taking that, and then also just across here as well at the top. And then just hitting the water.
I'm playing waves. What? I'm playing waves. You have to not get hit by the waves.
So that just marks out those lines there, which is good. So I don't think I'm going to do many more layers on this. And then it's really, really dark at the bottom of the lighthouse, so we need to also notice that. Just using a pure lamp black for that, or ivory black. And you can see that, well, I don't know that you can see, but the water's levels are definitely rising, so that's something that we obviously need to be aware of as well. Okay, now with the water, I'm going to take the water to the horizon this time. So we're just trying to remember the mixes that we had. To get it back to the colour that we were working with for the water. Now that's far too dark, so we're just going to lighten that up a bit. Add in a little touch more. I'm going to actually add in more of the green this time to this, just to lift it, because it actually is a little bit of cerulean as well, just to lighten it. I think that'll work quite nicely for me. So we're going to take this right take that right to the horizon line, and then I'm going to dry off the brush. It means then I can lift. Okay. Okay, and we're just going to move this across here. So just noticing there's little bits of shadow. Got a couple of visitors here. Just trying to notice just a little bit more of the water and how it's turning out. Doing it quite sporadically as well, so it's not going to dominate the whole thing. And just a little bit across here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, just tilt the camera down, and that is where we're going to leave it. Donaghadee Harbour. Well, I'm just back in the van, and I've just popped the kettle on, and my brother got me this beautiful German biscuit from one of the local bakeries. Support local. I have had the loveliest morning here. Always good to see my brother. Nothing quite like getting to chat with your sibling, because they remember so much, isn't that right? And then getting to do the painting, which I'm actually really pleased with. I think it captures the scene quite nicely, and I'm also glad, my brother was pointing this out, I'm glad that the boats are the centre and the lighthouse is off to the right, rather than it being all about the lighthouse. I'm pleased with the sky and the ocean colour. So it's been a good morning, and I had that when I was sitting at the harbour, that moment where I recognise I'm just still and at peace, and the joy that it brings me to be painting outside. I hope this inspires you to do the same. Go and find somewhere and just take a kit with you and go and enjoy yourself. I had some people chat, others not. You just learn to enjoy and get lost in what you're doing, and enjoy people enjoying what you're doing. Could I have used the word enjoy any more in a sentence? So that's it from me today. If you want to find out more about me, then head to woodwardswatercolors.co.uk. Don't forget, that's my website. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the little bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are happening. Now, there's also channel membership there. That's a primary means of supporting me in terms of petrol and keeping me in coffee, and just so that I can get out and do these things. So thank you for that growing membership of Woodward's Wonders. My plan is to do some videos for the members as this continues to grow, so thank you for that. But that's it from me for now. Thanks for watching. Go out there and get painting, and I will see you sometime soon. Bye everyone.